Greetings, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Dreamscapes. Today we have guest dreamer Mario Wisa from currently from Seattle, Washington, but he gets around. He's got a globe-trotting world traveler thing going on. He has been, or is currently still, a researcher, author, speaker, and communications expert. You can find him at mariowisa.com, link in the description below. For my part, would you kindly like, share, and subscribe? Tell your friends to contact me. I will talk to anyone about their dreams. They're all fascinating. You don't have to be anybody but a regular person. If you are human and you have dreams, we can talk. I do broadcast video games Monday through Friday, most days, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific. And there'll be a new one, of course, coming up on Monday, or a continuation of a game that I started previously. I'm going to ramble through this opening. This episode brought to you in part by ABC Book 16, Dreams and Their Meanings by Horace G. Hutchinson, now considered the father of modern golf instruction. How did a sports writer become write a book about dreams? Get the book and you'll find out why. All this and more, of course, at BenjaminTheDreamWizard.com, including an encyclopedia, past episodes in downloadable MP3 format, other interviews I've done on other people's shows. I've got a media page on there if you want to see me talking to people about all kinds of crazy stuff. Check those out. Also, why don't you please swing on by BenjaminTheDreamWizard.locals.com. It's free to join, attached to my Rumble account. If you're a Rumble user, there's no reason not to join. One of the best places to reach me if you have a dream to share. That is enough out of me. Mario, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. I'm actually really stoked to be here, and part of me is like, oh, I wish we had like 3 hours together, but I'm sure we can make the best of it because you seem like a really cool guy, Ben.
Oh, thank you. Honestly. You too. I've gone as short as 45 minutes. I've gone as long as like 3.5, maybe 4.5 hours. I can't remember what the longest one was. Record held by Laura. You know who you are out there. She had 3 distinct dream segments that all happened chronologically in the same night. So we got basically the equivalent of like 3 full episodes out of our discussion with her. And I just keep going. I'm in it for the marathon. As long as the dreamers got more questions, I love to keep going. So, what would people find if they go to mariowisa.com? I mean, you've got a book, you've got your experience traveling the world and doing public speaking. What do you do?
Okay, I'll try and make it really quick. There's so much you can do on my website. The 3 cool things that I want to point out is when you hover your mouse over this one tab on the right side that says Get Empowered, you have the option to select sub-menu to take like a quick questionnaire, 70 questions online to figure out your communication, personality, style, and you get this information. I do not get any of it. You get all the information. It's all for you. And under the same tab, Get Empowered, you actually have the option to sign up and get like free chapters from each of my 3 books in one file, all in English. And finally, excuse me. And finally, at the bottom of the page, I actually offer an introductory free 30-minute session 101, like communication coaching session. I also do leadership consultation, leadership communication, and I'll keep it simple at that.
Okay, that is very cool. Well, I know we had sorry, brain fart suddenly. We had discussed being short on time, but I always like to leave room in the beginning to get to know someone a little bit. So are there any stories from your travels that stand out in terms of your specialty, in terms of communication, maybe opportunities you had to learn something or where you felt you were particularly effective in communicating something that helped someone? That's always a focus of mine, is like when I do dream interpretations, the answers are not in me, they're in you. And so the dreamer's never wrong in that sense. And I'm always trying to, what I open myself up to is the pure focus on, please let me identify something useful and communicate it effectively so the person gets a benefit out of what we're doing. So that's always a focus of mine in my practice, but I'll leave it wide open for you to talk about how you do what you do, and if you have any particular stories that kind of highlight the principles you tend to discuss. If that's not vague enough for you, I can try to be more vague.
I really wish we had more time. I can tell already we're going to connect. So I guess the one thing I want to bring up, honestly, Ben, which is about 8 years ago, when I was welcomed with the wonderful opportunity to volunteer in India, a specific location, a place called Rishikesh. And the opportunity that welcomed me was to volunteer and teach English to Hindu monks, Buddhist monks, Tibetan monks, and Thai monks. So, me teaching English to monks, they were telling me that I am their teacher, and I tell them that's not true. They are my teacher, and that was like a debate going back and forth. And I realized that the ultimate answer, the true answer is that we are student and teacher simultaneously.
Absolutely. No, I think that's very true. There's a great. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and have even had some conversations with some other people about the idea of the what I call the aspirational aphorism, where so you get phrases that just came to my mind, like never stop learning, that kind of a thing. And there's always people trying to poke holes in those. Go, well, not every situation. Like, well, kind of. You pick your battles. Of course, it's maybe there's time, but there's times when you are the teacher and times where you are the student. And in my opinion, the best teachers are always trying to learn a better way to teach. So lifelong students in that way as well. Even if they're the one imparting wisdom, mostly it's like each interaction with a person is going to be unique. And like you said on your website, you have these ways of kind of helping people understand their own communication style. And then that gives them the information they need to maybe lean into that because it's working and develop those skills more, or look at where they're having deficiencies and say, if I did that more often, I might be a more effective communicator. So that's what I look at with the aspirational aphorism. It's like, well, this is like a statement of intent. Like, this is the way it should be. Not always, not in every circumstance. You're right. Caveat. But
Always caveat. Absolutely.
no, for sure. Okay, so I'm looking at the clock. I would love to talk to you, but we were having fun for like 20 minutes laughing off camera, and now we get into this, and it's like, we're out of time. God damn it. So, what I would want to do is, and I don't usually jump in this fast, but I want to transition to the dream thing so we don't cheat you and the audience out of the discovery process. If we leave 10 minutes for dreams, it's never enough. Let me just make a little note right here.
From your experience,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like drop this on our invisible table as an offer, and I want to see how you feel, which one you want to pursue more.
Sure.
So just really quick, I actually for the last 10-15 years I have been like kind of like Googling what dream interpretations are online. And for the last 2 years, I have been using like AI to actually like, I dreamt this. What do you think? And it's interesting because the interpretation, I get like 5 to 7 interpretations for each dream. It's
Right.
like,
That is interesting.
Yeah, it's really, really, I love to research. Researching is like huge for me. The more I engage with, the more I learn, the more I grow, the more I can offer other people.
For sure.
So I had a really interesting dream that seemed really vivid just last night.
Benjamin the Dream Wizard wants to help you pierce the veil of night and shine the light of understanding upon the mystery of dreams. Every episode of his Dreamscapes program features real dreamers gifted with rare insight into their nocturnal visions. New Dreamscapes episodes appear every week on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, and other video hosting platforms, as well as free audiobooks exploring the psychological principles which inform our dream experience, and much, much more. To join the wizard as a guest, reach out across more than a dozen social media platforms and through the contact page at benjaminthedreamwizard.com, where you will also find the wizard's growing catalog of historical dream literature available on Amazon, documenting the wisdom and wonder of exploration into the world of dreams over the past 2,000 years. That's Benjamin the Dream Wizard on YouTube and at benjaminthedreamwizard.com.
And that was not part of the plan to actually tell you about that. What I sent in my message, I was telling you that I have those dreams of my older brother who passed away about 3 years ago. And those dreams come maybe a couple times a month where I try and like avoid him or just accept him for what he is. And so, I
It is,
know I'm not giving you enough, but I want to give you the option. Which one do you want to tackle? The one from last night or the frequently one that I have?
it's really amazing that very often the night before someone talks to me, they have a dream that comes to them.
Makes
And that
sense.
may be, in one sense, that may be your brain saying, look, you have an opportunity coming. Don't let it go to waste. Here's something, here's something for you to talk about. And that can also go from, can also be from a perspective of anxiety. Gosh, I hope I have something interesting enough. I better invent something. So, but I think it's more the other way around of, you sense an opportunity coming, you want to make the most of it. And like, okay, well, let me have a really good dream so we can talk about that. Because of
Yeah,
our,
maybe.
because of our time constraint, I think it might be most beneficial to you and easiest to accomplish that we look at the dreams with your brother and try and
Gotcha.
try and
100% with
try
you.
and
I
give you
was waiting for
something
you.
useful about so in my estimation the reason reoccurring dreams come back is two broad reasons but one is there's a message there that we're not quite able to understand, and so we keep revisiting that topic trying to get the message, whatever it is. And the other thing is, whenever those circumstances in life occur which inspire that type of dream, the dream comes back to say, here it is again, here it is again, here's the same situation. And often it's a combination of the two. So, and what I've found with folks is that if we solve the dream, like we get kind of the gist of the meaning of it, it either the dream completely stops, because like, you get the message, I don't have to keep repeating it, or the nature of
point.
the dream changes. You have a similar dream, but it picks up where it left off, or it allows you to continue, or it changes fundamentally the relationship you're having with the person in the dream, or the object or the experience. So why don't we do that in terms of when can you remember the most recent instance of having a dream about your brother?
That was just actually recent. It's just maybe like a week ago or maybe under.
Okay. So they do, as you said, they come back pretty frequently.
Yeah.
And okay, so we'll try to briefly. Good luck to both of us, right? Go through the events of that dream, and then we'll look at them a little bit, and then we'll try and go to the pattern that might be broader across multiple dreams. So in this most recent dream, what was the setting? What was the kind of the story of the dream? How did it begin and end?
What I remember, because the dream tends to be different in some ways, yet what is happening, what is the response from my brother and mine seems to be the same, just different under a different light, a different situation.
Okay.
So basically, most of those dreams look like there's action that needs to be taken care of something that's happening. And my brother just like jumps in and he does his own way of responding and reacting to what's happening. And part of me realizes that there is a better way to handle this situation, yet I keep my mouth shut so I do not rock the boat so much. I would not cause disturbance. And that happens in so many ways. Sometimes it's him, myself, and the rest of my family. Sometimes just him and I in an apartment in Tennessee 25 years ago. It's just like me, like being quiet so I don't disturb him like too much or not challenge him too much. And yeah, from academic level, I learned that eventually that I need to like speak up and just like say something.
Yeah.
But the dream keeps coming up. And like I said, my brother passed away in 2022. So yeah, it's interesting.
And you basically didn't start having these dreams until he passed.
Oh, it's so fucking true. Yep.
Okay, good deal.
That's so
I mean, because when he
true.
was there, you could have been having them since you were a kid, but I like to confirm. So that's
Yeah,
it's
nice.
a different type of
Good
thing.
point.
So, and there are some folks who would. So I divide these things into two categories in terms of what I do is try and stay in my lane with the purely psychological, physical, medical explanations. There's the what I lovingly call the spooky woo side of things. This is the spirit of your brother coming back to talk to you. Maybe. I don't know. I can't prove it. I don't know what to do with that. So I
That's a good
don't
point.
dismiss it, but I set it off to the side of like, I can't. I can't work with that material as well. Maybe someday I will. Maybe I'll have a better grasp on it. But I try not to pretend to know anything I
Nice
don't know.
point, Ben.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Nice
I'm
point.
trying to say. I think that's part of the high ethical standards too. Is like this is not an ego trip for me. This is not trying to make myself look good and have an answer no matter what. It's like if I don't know, I don't know. So I link it to okay. Well, what's going on with the brother? Now, was this an older brother?
Yep. I have 3 older siblings, 2 brothers and 1 sister. And the
Okay.
brother that I'm talking about is the second brother. He was like 9 years older than me.
So someone you probably throughout your life always looked up to in a way, or not?
Specifically him, I trying to look up to him as not to behave the way he does. Can you say
Okay.
that? Jesus.
It feels wrong, but if it's true, it's gonna speak to how you're why he appears in your dreams, maybe what he represents.
You're
So
not supposed to say this about someone who passed away,
I
but that's
know it
what's coming up
feels
for
terrible.
me.
Let me just make a note of this real quick. It was the way you phrased it was, well, what not to do. Yeah. No, that's. I will be honest. I hope my younger brother looks at me as an example of some things not to do. Even if he also maybe looks at me and says I'm accomplished in some ways, he should also look at some things I've screwed up and learn that lesson not the hard way like I had to. So, so. What am I trying to say? In the most recent dream, so you said the setting and the circumstances tend to change, but very often he is performing the same function. So if we look at just that most recent dream from about a week ago, what was the setting and what were the circumstances and what was the actions? Like if you were to tell it like a brief story, a little paragraph long brief story. I was there, this happened.
Okay, so to be frank with you, I cannot recall the specifics of the situation yet.
Okay.
I can recall that I do have an app on my phone that records like if I make noises at night, like snoring or speaking or things like that. Just really quick, the app is called like Sleep Tracker. It's like $12 a year, and it's like easy, it's like really inexpensive to
Yeah.
sign up for. And it keeps track of like my sleeping, my heartbeat, any noises that are made, dream talk that comes up. And I do remember some of the comments and some of my dream talks that were recorded by the app were things like, oh, it's okay, just let him be, or something like, it's okay, no problem. Just like going with the flow a little too much because I do not want to rock the boat so much.
Gotcha.
And you know what? Like for the sake of having this conversation, I can tell you that avoidance and trying to protect myself, I even started 25 years ago when I came to the US. When I lived with my brother for like 6 months, and after like 6 months, I like wanted to be my own. I want to have like an American speaking language roommate. I don't want to have Egyptian Arabic TV. I want to have like job where I speak only English. I wanted to adapt. I want to evolve. And he was really close to Egyptian community. And in 2009, I moved from Virginia Beach, which is really close to New York, where he used to live. I moved to Seattle, Washington, where I am, because it's one of the farthest places from the East Coast.
That was your own Declaration of Independence. There, it's the most American thing you could do. I'm gonna get away from my familial influences that I feel might be holding me back.
Just wanted to grow. I wanted to grow. I want to evolve so much. And I see people around me at the time that were just like doing the same thing that they have done for the last 10, 15, 20 years and not much of a progress. And I wanted more.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, and that is a, what am I trying to say? That is a struggle I think a lot of people go through, is how much am I going to value family closeness and how much am I going to value my independence. And it's very much a personal choice, and your personality type, your innate tendencies are going to tell you whether this is a good fit for you or the other way. And it's hard to say that, I think both are necessary. It's one of those yin yang type of things where you don't want to be so dependent that you can't separate yourself from your family. You're just so enmeshed. That's a problem. All the other way, you maybe don't want to cut yourself off from a family that isn't actively evil or toxic, or family's important. So, I'm very similar. Well, I won't say I'm very similar to you. In my own sense, I lean heavily on the independent side just because I like a lot of alone, quiet time. I don't.
What's your birth order, Ben?
I am the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah. It's me and my brother, just two kids. I think about, mythological stories from the past, and I'm very much the prodigal son that went out and came back. Spent all the money to have experiences in the world, and then had to reset a couple of times, and do different things like that. And that's why I say I hope my brother learns from any of my mistakes and doesn't.
How much younger is he from you?
About 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not too far, but we weren't like 1 year apart where we were almost the same age, and we weren't quite 10 years apart, where I'm like almost an uncle to him. We were still kids together in that sense. So for you, I feel a kinship along those lines of the idea of seeking a little more independence, doing things my own way. And there's no bad blood. I love my parents. We just don't talk very much. It's okay. They're doing their own thing. I'm doing my own thing. What they want to know is when we do talk, are you happy? Are you doing your thing and enjoying it? And I said, of course I am. I hope you guys are too. And they're like, oh yeah, we're retired. We're doing our thing. It's great. It's great to know they're happy in general, even if it's just somewhere else. But I could not handle, I can't handle intense social situations where, or the intense, all social situations are intense to me. I can only handle small chunks of time and limited groups of people, and then I need to go be alone for a lot longer to recharge my battery. Very, very introverted in that way, which is weird. It's like introverts aren't just, it isn't the equivalent of being shy. It's just you need a lot of alone time. I'm not exactly shy around people. I can do interviews like this, and I can talk to people face to face mostly well. But, anyway, so all of this to say, I'm trying to see also your perspective separated from my own. You got to make sure there's no counter transference stuff going on here where I'm putting me into your story. So you've got a situation where this, what's going on with dreams is we get these visuals, we get icons, representations of particular types of things, and very often it can be people, it's objects, it's places. So in this one, the common theme seems to be it's your brother. It's specifically a brother who was, you said, I think roughly 10 years older than you, and
nice.
He's the brother who you look to say, I need to learn from his mistakes so I don't repeat them. So you've got that icon coming to you in your dream, and it says that, or you said, when the pattern appears to be when there's a situation, he acts first, jumps in his own way, and you are left as the person who's observing, going, I wouldn't do that, or I would do it a different way, or maybe there's a better way to do that. You get a little bit of that distance going on. So my thought would be, if that's a pattern that repeats, and it's that strong of an icon, and it started after he died. So, if he was still alive, he may not be quite so crystallized in your mind. Like, he might still be evolving. There might be hope for, but now he's kind of been, his evolution has stopped. He's not going to be anyone other than who he always was, because he can't change anymore. So now that even crystallizes it more. So
that's very powerful, actually, Ben. That's actually what you just said. That's actually really, really powerful.
Oh, go ahead and stop there. I like it when people feel something. And then, did you want to say a little bit more about it?
Yeah. To realize that someone with their own personality and body and existence, that they have moved on, and they actually do not have the option, as we are speaking right now, to evolve beyond how they ended things on Earth.
Yeah.
That cultivates a very, very special dimension of compassion.
I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah. There's a kind of sadness for them as well. It's like you can't change anymore. You can't get better than you were, even if I thought you had that potential. That's probably one reason as well why he would come back to you. I mean, obviously you didn't hate him. You're not glad he's gone. So I like to do those counterfactuals. Like here's not the situation. So there's a fondness for him and a love towards him, even though you look at it and go, man, he made some bad decisions. And I would like to not repeat that.
Yeah. Good point. That's an excellent point.
So
that's probably the juices of our meetings right now. This is like, I'm telling you, I'm tuned in.
I'm glad you're feeling it. That's what I do. I just ramble until people have thoughts and feelings of their own. Then I'll shut up and listen. But I'm also trying to give you something useful in terms of, so why is he coming back? So as I was saying earlier, there are life circumstances very often that trigger us to remember specific events from our past. And it's usually because those events or people are representative of that type of thing. Oh, this is happening again. I remember that. It's like when this other thing happened. And that other thing becomes your go-to to describe all of these different situations. They get lumped into this bucket. So my guess would be is that as often as this dream reoccurs, there's something in your life prompting you to evaluate how yourself or another person is handling some problem that's immediate in their life. So if we tried to tie it to your real life, your waking life, that is, I think dreams are real, as real as they can be for taking place inside your head.
It's a type of communication.
Yeah, absolutely. I try not to say the dreams are not real or not real life. It's waking life and sleeping experience.
Yeah.
So about a week ago, with contemporaneous with that dream, was there some event where you were looking at yourself or others and evaluating performance as they intervened in some or addressed some problem? That's, like I said, if I could be any more vague. I'm trying to leave it wide open, but get to the idea.
I'm just lighting an incense while we're talking.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And if you need a moment to think, I'm not afraid of dead air. It's okay to let folks take a moment to think.
To be frank with you, what comes up for me is, hence I'm really mindful of how I interact and engage with other people and how much influence I have on them. Hence, I always aim that my influence will be empowering, inspiring, and motivating for people. Is with that I hope from my heart that I'm not repeating what my family or what my brother was doing, which is like kind of like egoistic thing, like always showing that I'm better than you in some ways. I want to live my life and showing everyone that you are better than me and you can do amazing in this life and you will only get better and better with time. This comparison thing and this egoistic approach is like something that's just not my world at all. So yeah. Whew. Okay.
No, for sure. And I think that internal focus, in a way, that what am I trying to say? Moral or ethical line of reasoning that leads you to, so there may have been a circumstance lately where you looked at it and you at least wanted to check in with yourself about whether you handled it, whether you, as you were saying, whether you jumped in on your own way, or you were handling it correctly. What I'm trying to say is we all do, and I don't want to phrase it as self-doubt. It is, but that's a different. We're always doing self-assessments. How did I approach that situation the best way that I possibly could, or did I act without thinking it through and I made a mistake? And we have different degrees of nagging doubt in that. But so there's a certain array of like standard post-action evaluation that we all do that's normal, I think. And then there's a little bit beyond normal where you get this nagging doubt of like, I'm not sure I handled that the right way. Now, maybe you did, but you're just not sure. And so I'm wondering if we phrase it like that, if we look at this dream as asking you a question rather than making a statement, it's what am I trying to say? It's almost like the image of your brother comes back to say, stay humble. Don't be like me. And there may be a pattern you're noticing in yourself, or as like I said, as often as the dream reoccurs, there's probably going to be some kind of triggering incident where it causes you to ask the question in a way that other events wouldn't. I don't know if I'm describing it well enough for you to dial in on something like, here's a circumstance where I was talking to someone, and after the fact, I questioned whether I handled it as well as I could have, but like more than the standard after action report assessment that we do. Did I do all right? Yeah, I think so. Well, it was more like, I'm not sure I did all right. I think there may have been room for improvement, opportunity. Basically, whenever you observe that either yourself or someone else might be acting like your brother would tend to come back in the dream to say, hey, this situation happened again. So I don't know if you, looking back at the different times you've had it, or in the course of the last 2 or 3 years, does anything stand out where you're like, yeah, that dream happened the day this thing happened, and that's connected? I don't know if I'm giving you enough information to kind of make connection. So I usually start with the most recent dreams.
Based on your feedback and what you shared with me, you probably can see like my face, my eyes going back and forth between left hemisphere and right hemisphere of my brain. Yes, I can sense, yes, possibly there's a message in that because I'm going through something or I'm trying to figure out something, and he's coming up for me in a way that might be to kind of enlighten me or help me to see things differently. Because sometimes I struggle with anxiety so much, and I want to get as much done as possible. And a big part of it is like our upbringing. Our mom was always like, if she sees you sit down for like more than 2 or 3 minutes, like get something done all the
Got
time.
something to work on, yeah.
Yeah, we all familiar with that. And also being in the service in the military, U.S. Navy, there's like, why are you sitting down? We need to be getting things done. So those experiences really cultivates this inner feeling that we need to be productive all the time and do something like good, helpful, useful all the time, and we need to be right about what we are doing and how we're thinking, and that's not always true.
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing to struggle with as well. Is like you want to respect the wisdom of your elders in a way, and they throughout your life, it seems like most of the people around you have taught you to not feel comfortable with idleness, with sitting quietly and just letting be. You've got to always be doing something, and there may be a lesson in that. See, a lot of these conversations that we have around a dream, we start connecting dots to personal experience. People say duh, but really getting down to that. So it seems like maybe your brother took that message to heart more than you did, in terms of feeling more intense pressure to act now, do something, versus maybe waiting, maybe slowly, maybe take a step back and evaluate. He's like, no, must act. And there may be this conflict continuing in your mind of like, well, where do I fall on that spectrum? I lean pretty heavily towards, just relax, man. Just let it be what it is and do what you need to do when the time is right. And the other side of, no, you must be doing something now, always and forever, and never relax. And that could be, it can almost feel like disrespectful to the wisdom of the elders to say, oh, I know better. I know I can relax. All these voices in my head are telling me I better do something. I better act. I better get going. I better not get comfortable being chill. So you may still be trying to work that out. And then I would say, additionally, another layer of this is when a person you love passes, everything they represent, becomes concretized, as we say. It's a very, very, he can't change anymore. But now, forever, that person is also has an additional weight in your life that they wouldn't have if they were still alive. If they were still alive, they'd just be your brother, and he's doing his thing, and this, that, and the other. But now they are forever a tombstone in your mind, and that tombstone is stone, and it is what it is, and it just gives their experience, your observation of their experience in life, this additional weight to it. So no wonder that would come as an icon to you to highlight this particular issue. So maybe we've hit on something where every time you're having a conflict in your life, an internal conflict of, did I do everything I could to make that situation the best I possibly could? Or should I have been more relaxed, more chill, tried to take less control and stand back? So maybe we're getting something where now the proof will be in the pudding. If we hit on something, and if this is your iconic representation of self-doubt between these two poles of your innate tendency and what seems to be working for you and what has created your success as well, being this more chill, relaxed, happy-go-lucky guy that isn't so uptight all the time. But then this, strong pressure from people you respect and a long tradition in your family of being more intense and active and exerting more control immediately, quickly to do something. If we hit the right thing, then the nature of these dreams might change. I think that'll be the proof in the pudding. Either they will come back less often because you're able to now consciously address that possible conflict of mind that was previously unconscious, or the nature of your interactions and your brother's actions in your dreams will change, because now you know what he represents, and the next question is, okay, what do I do about it? How do I change? So you might find yourself talking to him. Like there's nothing, now you're just at a cafe and you're both sitting down across from each other with a coffee and you're having a conversation rather than you watching him act, because the message you need now is different. I don't know. That should be the, as I said, the proof of whether we hit on something useful or not is whether the dreams change or stop. I don't know if you have any final thoughts. We're getting down to the wire on your time here. I want to be respectful.
You know what? I'm going to put this out there. Two things. Number one is I think I can tell you do not care about like making money. Making money is illegal. Government makes money. Yet, I believe that you probably be able to generate a lot more revenue and income if you become a therapist, because you are a great listener.
Oh, thank you very much.
And you have
and I think I talk too much.
Judging yourself, brother. Come on. I'm trying to compliment you.
Relax.
Take the compliment.
Yes.
Take the fucking compliment.
I can't do it. It hurts. Go ahead.
I understand. What you really have to offer is actually extremely unique. And sometimes when we say, this is a psychology thing, if we say, I'm going to figure this out in like 2 years, okay, it's going to take 24 months. If I say I'm going to figure this out in next 3 months, our brain subconscious go like, okay, it has to be done in 3 months. And I feel like our conversation right now is a perfect example of that. We could have actually spent 2-3 hours together, yet those 55 minutes that we spent together has been huge for me, because I can actually write an essay about the things that I've noticed and captured so far from this. I really mean it.
Very cool.
And thank you for that. And I understand that it's a privilege for me to have this session with you. And also, I am somewhat really intentionally perceptive. So I'm taking all the information and processing them. And man, you're lucky to be you and lucky doing what you're doing. I mean it from my heart.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have just enough belief and confidence in myself to record this shit and put it on the internet. So that's as good as it gets. And I don't take compliments well. You are very perceptive. That's it. Take the compliment. I can't. It hurts. It does. It feels so awkward. But I genuinely appreciate it. That another human being said, "Hey Ben, you did good. A little pat on the head. You helped me out. You said something useful, interesting." I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. So that's good. I need to get you out of here. Let's do the end of the show here. This has been our friend Mario Wisa from currently from Seattle, Washington. Who knows where he'll end up in his travels. He's a researcher, author, speaker, communications expert, and you can tell he's good at it. You can find him at mariowisa.com, link in the description. For my part, would you kindly like, share, subscribe, tell your friends? Always need more volunteer dreamers. I do video games, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pacific most days, Monday through Friday. This episode brought to you in part by ABC Book 16, Dreams and Their Meanings, by Horace G. Hutchinson. Of course, all this and more at BenjaminTheDreamWizard.com. Also, BenjaminTheDreamWizard.locals.com. That's the fastest I've ever done that. Mario, thank you for being here. It has been good talking to you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Before we go, I have the urge to plug this in because I really mean it. This is one of the biggest outcomes from this conversation, is that I feel like part of me was like avoiding actually connecting or conversing or even dreaming about my brother. And you've helped me to look at it from a different perspective, or to just investigate it and be more kind to it and look into the message it might be sending me. So thank you so much for that.
I appreciate that, and your willingness to go to a slightly uncomfortable place in a public forum that I believe will really help other people do the same. So I appreciate that. And we can keep talking forever, but I'm going to just say to the audience, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.